you may notice the walls behind me are looking a little bit barren. And that is because I am in the process of packing up my entire pin collection to get ready to move. We are actively in the process of house hunting in San Diego. It's a very competitive market, so we've already had some unsuccessful offers, but fingers crossed something good comes through soon. But we need to kind of start the packing process now to make sure we have everything ready, moved out of here by the end of the summer. And I'm packing my pins away so that I can have them in big pin books and binders in our car when we drive over, rather than I don't want to have any of these in a moving van. So I'm going to go through and show what I've already kind of cleared out and packed away now, and also how I am packing everything away. And we can see how many more of these cork boards we can take down. So these are the pin boards that I have already taken off of my walls. I have one big board, two medium boards, two of these black foam boards, and then four kind of medium to small miscellaneous pin boards. I have to decide whether to kind of take and pack these because I really do not like these big pin boards. They are very large and very inexpensive. I think maybe from Target, but they are very hard and very firm, and taking pins off of these boards, I found so many that had bent pin posts just because this is such hard material. So I do not like this, and you can see it's obviously a big mishmash. But all of the pins that were on these boards are now in these 3 pin books. So I have a full Hydra from Crack and Trade, a Pinfolio Pro Show from GoPin Pro, and then a Meg from Crack and Trade. And because these got totally filled up, I just ordered and got in the mail another Hydra from Crack and Trade to fit more pins. So I'm going to show you what I currently have in these binders to kind of get a perspective on just how many pins can be held in here. So this is the first Hydra. This is so heavy right now. It has so many pins I've loaded in it. So you can see, obviously, I have all of my Emperor New Groove pins in this pin book. It has a front zippered display on there, but I have filled every possible nook and cranny with pins. So in this little zippered pouch, I have some Zootopia pins from an extra board that I have put on some of my own foam and slid in there, again, to kind of take advantage of every bit of space possible. Then on the inside, I've loaded up even more pins in here. So this is just an extra foam sheet I've put on top. This has some remainder of extra Zootopia pins and then all of my Splash Mountain pins. Then under that, you can finally see the actual pages of this pin book. But in addition to that, on both the bottom and the top, there's some significant extra space. I, again, have added a whole bunch of extra foam sheets that I have mainly all of my Goofy Movie pins on. So this kind of fills in that extra space nicely. But then on the inside, there are 4 pages that I have pins on front and back. So we have Emperor's New Groove on this side and that side. This is a little divider, even more of the Emperor's New Groove pins, with, I think that's about the last of the Emperor's New Groove on that side. Then behind the other dividers, this is where I fit all of my Rescuers pins. On the back side, we have a few more Rescuers and then my Coco pins. And then I think there's one more page. So this has rest of Coco, other Pixar pins. And then the last page in here has the rest of some of my Pixar sets. And so you can see all of these extra little foam sheets with Goofy Movie pins I have put on there to kind of really nicely nestle and wedge everything in here. And this is also why it is super, super heavy, but it's a lot of pins held in a pretty compact amount of space. And then I have this Pinfolio Pro Show, and this was already pretty loaded up with my Christmas and Halloween pins, but there was some extra space, so I started to put some attraction pins. So you can see it's Christmas, and then we have Tower of Terror that's on this front page. In here, I've also added in just a full extra page of pins. So this one on top, it's kind of Minnie and Mickey, some classic Disney personal style pins. And then it's the actual pages of the pin book. So this is just what I always have stored in here. I have the Christmas and the Halloween that I only bring out for seasonal display. But then there was extra room to fit in, so I have the rest of Tower of Terror pins here and here. This is some more of my Minnie and Mickey pin collection. And then we have another back page here with the rest of more Minnie and Mickey. So this has 3 pages back and front of pins, and plus this is what I added, this extra full page. I then have this Crack and Trade Megalodon pin book all packed up. This in here has 3 pin pages and they're back and front, and there's not really room for any extra. So this is where I have more of my attraction pins, and so these are some of my monthly series. You can see all of the windows there. And then I've started to put some more attraction pins, sort of sorted by the parks, kind of DCA, some Walt Disney World pins, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and then on the last page, front and back, some of my Disneyland pins. I do have one more Meg pin book, but I have all of my traders in there, and I don't really want to take those out and move those anywhere. And those I probably will just have in a moving van, but everything that's in my collection, I want to make sure we have compact in our car to drive out. And so that is why I decided to get an additional Hydra to try and see how many more of my pins I can fit in here. So for all the other pins, I still have yet to pack away. I have this board of Wally pins. I have this big board of Zootopia pins. We've still got some more pins on my attractions pin board, and these pins I have set aside because these are all 3-dimensional and I need to pack them separately because these cannot be crushed in any way. Then I have some medium-sized pin boards, so this is my sweets and snacks pins with a few extra up there. And then we have a board of mainly my geology pins, Moana, Pandora, and then lastly, kind of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Mandalorian, and pure miscellaneous. So I will definitely be starting with the Zootopia pin board since that is the biggest out of everything. And based on putting all my Emperor's New Groove pins in the other Hydra, I know for sure these will all fit in there with definitely room for extra. So I think we'll go into a bit of a time lapse as we put all of these in a pin book. Okay, that is all of the Zootopia pins minus this one, because you can see this is kind of like a snow globe, big 3D element that's going to have to go with the separately packed ones. So we just ever so slightly went onto another page, but otherwise it's the front cover, and then there are 2 full front and back pages. So that means there are essentially 2 more full front and back pages left in this, and I'll probably also do the same thing of fitting some more pins on the bottom and the top and probably doing another pin sheet on this. So I think I'm next going to grab my Wally pin board and continue on. So Wally is done with 2 pins that are, this one is super dimensional that will have to be packed away. I feel like I wasn't as efficient as I could have been with the space on this page, but it's fine enough. So we have like about a third of this left, and then a whole double-sided next one. So I think I'm gonna bring down the rest of my attractions pin board, since I think what I have remaining should definitely fit in the rest of the space here. Okay, well, I cannot put my attractions pins away right now because Micah decided that this is a cat bed. You leaving? Okay, bye, thank you. So aside from this kind of awkwardly sized Indiana Jones pins, that is all of the attraction pins. And I did better than I thought because there's still almost a full page left at the back of here. So I might as well bring down my sweets and snacks board and see how much I can fit in here. I'll probably size one of the foam sheets to fit as another layer on the top in here. So we'll be able to fit some more in here, but I don't think I can fit totally everything I have left into just here. I do have a few small pin books that I can use, but we'll see how far we can get with this other Hydra. Well, we were real close on the extra top sheet. I just have a few more pins that I'm not able to fit on there, and wow, you can see on this cork board the sun and very clear outlines of all of the pins. So with these pins and the remaining little board of my sweets and snacks, this is where I'm going to cut up some of my little bits of foam and fit them on there. And then I have some clamshells, some other crack and trade bags, and then some small Pinfolio books that I'll see if I can fit the rest of my other two pin boards that are the same size in there. I think I now have this as absolutely full as I can get and want. So we have the additional page on top of the 4 pages in here, plus the little sheets on the bottom and top and in the pocket. I'll probably just get some bubble wrap to put on top of these as some added protection, but otherwise we'll zip this up and this will go with the other books that are ready to pack. I still have the pins on this board that need to be put away and another board of the same size that is mostly full to pack up. So I'm thinking I'm next going to put things into a Clamshell by Crack and Trade. So these have circular little pin boards in the front display, but there's also a number of other pouches, especially, I know I have extras, so like in the back there's another one, and then in this middle section there's room for me to also put at least 1 or 2 of those circular pin boards in there. So I'm hoping that with this, we can get close to having a storage home for all of the pins. gosh, I can't believe we did it and everything fit perfectly. Before I put this guy in here, I'm gonna get just a kind of thin piece of foam or something so that I don't have the pins rubbing up against each other, but it's going to fit perfectly in here. So that now means every single pin has a home, aside from, I still have to figure out a bit of packing. I'll probably put them in a little box with bubble wrap, the big 3-dimensional pins. But we now have every pin in my collection packed and ready to move. And there we go. Here's the aftermath of all of the pins being packed up into lovely pin bags and pin books. So we've got the 2 Crack and Trade Hydras that are filled to the gills, Pinfolio Pro Show that also has an extra sheet in it, the Kraken Meg book, and then also the Clamshell completely filled up. And this means that this holds about 1,500 pins in total. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how compact this is, because this all needs to fit pretty tightly in our car when we're driving out, since we're going to be transporting our 2 cats, and that's going to take up space, and obviously we'll need some luggage and other kind of important stuff with us. But this is obviously stuff I don't want stuck in a moving van, kind of, you know, risk any damage or losses with it. So I think that this turned out pretty well. And now you can see the wall here is pretty much completely barren, aside from some of the nails left in it. And this is the big stack of boards over here. And like I said, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to save or keep, especially the big ones, because these are so inexpensive, but they're so hard and they really damage the pins. And hopefully I can have in a new house, whenever we get it, a much nicer, kind of more cohesive setup. Maybe just a whole wall of cork. That'd be pretty cool. So you can go back to my uploads about 5 years ago, and that's when we moved into this house, and I had a video from my old apartment showing how I packed up all of my pins there for that move. So with those, I did kind of full bubble wrap rolls and had them in boxes. But that was also literally like a 3-minute move. And that was also really in the days before the really good big pin books and binders came out. So now there's like great solutions for storing and also transporting your pin collection. So again, fingers crossed we get an offer accepted soon on a house. But there's also still a lot more stuff I have to pack up. I have to figure out what to do with all my Loungefly bags, and obviously all of my crafting supplies. I have a lot of fabric and glitter and fabric paint, but that's all to be figured out another time. But thanks for watching!